After all of the madness in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys ended up with the 3 seed in the NFC, and they will host the number 6 seed, who is the San Francisco 49ers.
What?
In the wild
49ers?
card round. Yes.
Iconic.
It's going to be amazing. Sunday, 3:30 p.m. in Arlington, Texas. This is one of the best rivalries there is in sports, but just how iconic is this rivalry?
I think Cowboys fans who maybe weren't even around or didn't really get into the Cowboys, now they're winning, they're going to be reminded of what a great legacy rivalry this is. This is how I look at it. This has been a crazy NFL season. They're all crazy, but talk about wildly unpredictable. You remember the Cowboys-Buccaneers first game on Thursday night?
Of course.
Amazing game.
Yeah.
That was the first game of the season. The last game of the season, we'll never forget that. Raiders and Chargers, right? In the middle of that, you had your MVP is an anti-vaxxer, Aaron Rodgers. It's just been a wild. You had the AFC's number 1 seed, the Tennessee Titans.
Right.
They lost to the Texans and the Jets and the number 1 seed.
Right.
It's just been a wacko year. Now we get to the playoffs. Let's get some calm to the chaos.
Right.
Because now this is a familiar rivalry that goes back to the 90s. And this is Cowboys fans. When you're a Cowboys fan, and I was a Cowboys fan in the 70s. This goes back to the Doomsday Defense.
Right.
Roger Staubach at Kezar Stadium. They played NFC Championship games in the 70s. They played them in the 80s. There's something called the Catch. You may want to Google that. I don't really want to talk about it. And in the 90s, they played for the NFC Championship.
And that was the last time.
And those teams win. When they played, it was John Madden. It was Pat Summerall.
Right.
It was when the Cowboys and Niners are on, you know that one of those teams is probably going to win the Super Bowl. And that's how it's happened. They played 7 times in the playoffs, 6 of them NFC Championship games.
Wow.
It's a legacy rivalry in the NFL. And I'm happy that fans are going to get reacquainted or maybe learn for the first time some of the history. And then Sunday should be maybe we'll add to the top 10 all-time games because this should be a really good matchup of contrasting styles.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to this matchup. The 49ers have been very consistent and hot as of late.
Yep.
They've won 7 of their last 9 games. However, quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is still dealing with that thumb injury. He's been playing through it just fine.
Yeah.
But when you look at this 49ers team, what stands out to you as, Cowboys, you better deal with that?
You better get ready to get punched in the mouth like an NFC East team hasn't done to you all year.
Right, physical.
Because they're going to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball with unique players. They've handed the ball off 500 times this year. 30% of the time, it hasn't been to a running back.
Right.
The Cowboys don't see. You don't
That's
see
very
that.
Interesting.
You don't, and they hand it to beasts like Deebo Samuel,
Right.
who's you don't see players like him. They're going to get. If the Cowboys can't stop the run, they're in trouble.
Right.
And that's what every team does. You saw that's how San Francisco's turned this thing around. They got healthy, and they decided Garoppolo's hurt. He's throwing a lot of wild picks. Let's rein it back in and do what we do best. And they're bringing that. They have an identity. The Cowboys' identity is we're going to spread the ball around to the most talented group of weapons in the NFL. San Francisco's got, you know what, spread it around. We're coming right at you, right in your front porch. If you can't stop it, then we're going to get in your kitchen and we're going to beat you.
The 49ers certainly do have that more old school mentality and identity. But Deebo Samuel has been insane for them this season. If you had him on your fantasy football league, which I may have, he's had the best season.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at Deebo, and then like you said, all of their other players run the ball right down your throat, how hard is this going to be for Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, who are these young players who maybe really haven't faced anything like this?
You know what? If we weren't media, do what we do, we would pay big money to watch Micah Parsons chase around Deebo Samuel.
For sure.
2 of the greatest athletes in the NFL.
Yeah.
And both
speedy.
Both you can put them. You can play Deebo Samuel at receiver, at running back. He threw a touchdown yesterday.
Right.
Micah Parsons, you can line him up at defensive end, at linebacker. He makes plays 30 yards down the field or 10 yards in the backfield.
Right.
It's like the greatest UFC match ever is Micah versus Deebo. I can't wait to watch it.
Right.
But
for sure.
in theory, that's what the Cowboys say. Micah, go shadow Deebo.
Right.
And he's got the ability to do that.
Right.
You would think he's a receiver. You put Trayvon Diggs on him. Deebo Samuel will, from a run game standpoint and catching the ball and then run after catch, Trayvon Diggs can't handle him. He's too strong for him.
Wow.
But not Micah Parsons. We know that.
And then on the flip side, the 49ers defense has been very solid, especially against the run. Over the last 2 months, only one team has rushed for over 100 yards versus them. Obviously the Cowboys offense is finding their momentum again, but this is going to be really tough. This
is a different animal as well, because the Cowboys it's fool's gold when you play the NFC East. You score 56 against the Washington and 51 against the Eagles JV.
Right.
This is nothing you saw in those games about running up the score and worry about, how many players have scored a touchdown and how many records can we break. Forget it, because San Francisco, again, they've got a stout defense. They stack the box and say, Ezekiel Elliott, you're not going to beat us. Make Dak throw, and they're going to pressure him. The Cowboys are going to have to play a better offensive game than they've played going back maybe to week 1 at Tampa, when they were really good running the ball, had good balance. If they don't have balance against San Francisco, it'll be a game it'll be a final play type game.
Wow. Okay, also, coaching bloodlines will be a little bit of a storyline in this matchup. Head coach Kyle Shanahan coached under Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. How do you see this storyline shaking out?
It's strange, because there is a lot of, hey, I remember we used to go over here and we were friends, now we're enemies. It's a lot of that.
And then Quinn, of course, is so much up in the air on, is this his final game as a Cowboy?
Yeah, he's getting, deservedly so. He's getting tugged in a bunch of different directions to be head coach. And what was interesting about, you're talking about different coaches, really when the Cowboys offense started to plateau, and it sounds crazy when I know they scored 50 points twice in the last month, but really, they haven't clicked since Dak injured his calf and the Denver game, which kind of exposed some of the things they were doing. Well, Denver's head coach is Vic Fangio, just got fired. Vic Fangio was up for the San Francisco job and got turned down. If I'm the Cowboys, I call Vic Fangio and say, hey, remember when the 49ers screwed you over? How did you prepare for us and shut us down? Because they're probably going to do the same kind of things, and we need to know the secret sauce, because we're going to play them. Vic Fangio may go, you know what? Yeah, I owe those guys one. Let's talk a bit. If I'm I bet you that call's being made at the start.
I like that. I like that insider insight there with the phone calls behind the scenes.
Do anything you can win in the playoffs. Any edge you can get.